Hello everyone, welcome to AVLSL lecture number 23, part number 2. So here we will continue our discussion on current mirrors. We have already completed question number 1 and 2, and in today's session we will start with question number 3, which is based on designing a current mirror combo of a current mirror and a common source stage. So over here, the source follower stage depicted in figure number 22.5.3 must be designed for a voltage gain of 0.85. So basically over here the source follower stage is given to you and we have to design that for a gain of 0.85 with an output impedance of 100 ohms. Okay, so that's the requirement for a source follower. So your M1 and M2 form of source follower network. Assuming W by L of 2 is given as 10 divided by 0.18, lambda n is given as 0.1, lambda p is given as 0.2, VTH n is given as 0.4, and mu n Cox value is given as 100 microampere per volt square. So we have to design the circuit. What do you mean by designing the circuit? We have to determine the sizing of all the transistors. For transistor M1 and M reference, M2 is already given, and also we have to determine the value of I reference. Fine. So VDD is also given as 1.8. So without further delay, let us begin with the design. So first of all, we'll write down the things which are known to us. AV is given as 0.85. It's a source follower, so the gain will be positive. R out will be 100 ohms. VTH n is given as 0.4 volt. W by L of 2 is given as 10 divided by 0.18. Lambda n is given as 0.1. Lambda p is given as 0.2. So don't panic looking at the complex circuit, right? It's a very simple network consisting of a current mirror and a source follower network. So let us analyze it. So that's the solution, right? Your M1 and M2 form a source follower with a NMOS current source load. Okay. Why it is a source follower? Input is applied to the gate, output is taken from the source terminal, and as a load we have a NMOS current source load. Now we have earlier determined that the voltage gain of such a source follower will be given by GM1 into R out. And over here, if you see carefully, since M1 and M2 are connected in series, ID1 will be same as ID2. Now let us determine what could be the value of R out. So looking at the diagram over here, R out will be equal to RO2 parallel to 1 upon GM1 parallel to RO1. We are considering the channel and modulation parameter. So R out will be, again I repeat, it will be RO2 parallel to 1 upon GM1 parallel to RO1. Okay, so that can be written as R out can be written as, if you solve it, you will get it as 1 divided by GM1 plus 1 upon RO1 plus 1 upon RO2. And that R out is nothing but by output resistance, which is given as 100. So we equate this into 100. And your AV will be GM1 into R out. So what will be GM1? GM1 will be AV divided by R out. AV is given as 0.85, R out is 100. So GM1 is coming out to be 8.5 milliampere per volt. Okay, so far so good. So just now we have found out the value of GM1. Remember, we have to find the transistor sizing for all the transistors, M1, M reference, etc. So let us continue our discussion. We know RO1 and RO2 will be same because ID1 and ID2 are same, and both are NMOS transistors. So RO1 will be equal to RO2, which will be equal to 1 upon lambda n into ID1. Okay, now R out expression is given as 1 upon GM1 plus 1 upon RO1 plus 1 upon RO2. So that can be written as, R out can be written as 1 upon GM1 plus twice upon RO, where RO will be same as your RO1 and RO2. And yeah, let us continue now. So over here we have the unknown value of RO only present, right? So R out is known to us, it is 100. GM1 is known to us. We have to find algebraically solve this and find the value of RO. So here we'll cross multiply and finally we get this expression. Twice divided by RO will be 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 3. So RO is coming out to be 1.333 kilo ohms. So that will be equal to RO1 and that also will be equal to RO2. Now, ID1 is given as 1 upon lambda n RO1, right? From your formula only. So here RO1 is 1 upon lambda n ID1. So ID1 will be 1 upon RO1 into lambda n, right? So ID1 is coming out to be 1 divided by 0.1 into RO1 is 1.333 into 10 raised to minus 3. I mean 10 raised to 3. So ID1 is coming out to be, if you plug in the values in the calculator, it's coming out to be 7.5 milliamperes, correct? And we know the formula for, so we have determined the value of RO and ID1, and we know the formula for GM1. It's given by square root of twice mu and Cox W by L into ID1. So from here only W by L ratio is unknown. I mean, rest all the quantities are known to us. So we'll square both the sides. You'll get GM1 square is equal to twice mu and Cox W by L of 1 into ID1. So W by L of 1 will be GM1 square divided by twice mu and Cox ID1. So your GM1 value we know, we have calculated it as 8.5 milliamperes. Mu and Cox value is 100 micro, and the value of ID1 is coming out to be 7. We have calculated it to be 7.5 milliamperes. So plug in all these values over here. So W by L of 1 is coming out to be 48.1667. So we approximate this number to 48. So the sizing of transistor M1 is, that is W by L of 1 will be 48. Now next, further we assume that your M reference transistor has a sizing of 20. Okay, has a sizing of 20. Now this number can be 2, 5, 10, 20, right, in this range. So select the sizing of transistor M reference as 20 micrometer divided by 1 micrometer. This is our assumption. So moving forward with this assumption, if we identify carefully, first observation is that M1 and M2 are in series. So ID1 will be same as ID2. We have calculated it. It is 7.5 milliamperes. Now second observation is that M reference transistor and M2 transistor form a current mirror, right? And if they form a current mirror, we can write a basic current mirror basically. So we can write ID2 is equal to W by L of 2 divided by W by L of reference into I reference. So from here we can calculate the value of I reference. So I reference will be W by L of reference divided by W by L of 2 into ID2. Now we know the value of ID2, it's 7.5 milli. W by L of L reference is 20, and W by L of 2 we have been given as 10 divided by 0.18. So plug in the values over here and we get the value of I reference as 2.7 milliamperes, right? So we got the value of I reference from here as 2.7 milliamperes. So we have completed the design now. So this is my design circuit. I reference came out to be 2.7 milliamperes. M reference transistor sizing we have determined it as assumed it as 20 divided by 1. M1 transistor sizing we got it as 48:1, and M2 transistor sizing was already given. So we normally know that the length of all the transistors remains the same. So you can convert this into L being 0.18, accordingly calculate the W value. Okay, so these are the transistor sizing for M1 transistor, M2 transistor, and M reference transistor. Okay, M2 was already given. We assumed the value for transistor sizing for M reference, and we have determined the value of transistor sizing, that is W by L ratio for M1 transistor along with the I reference. So whenever you get such kind of a design, it's a combination of your amplifier as well as a current mirror. So yeah, so that's how you complete it, and similarly you can get similar numericals based on some other amplifiers. Okay, so we have come to the end of this session. So that will be all for this session. I guess we have completed all the 3 numericals, and we have kept a separate session for each of them because it required an special attention, because it was combining 2 topics: amplifiers, integrated circuit amplifiers, and current mirror topics. Okay, so that's all for today. Next time we will start with a cascade current mirror. So until then, have a good day and thank you.